Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day. Today we'll explore a quiet countryside story where one small misunderstanding turns into a terrifying night. A child goes missing in the dark, and everyone believes the worst. Little Ly disappears without a trace. Stay with us to uncover what really happened, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next chapter of this story. After hours of searching on their own with no results, the atmosphere had completely changed. What began as anxiety had slowly turned into something heavier, darker. Mrs. Hoan was the first to break the silence. Her voice was strained, almost hollow, as if the words themselves were pulling strength out of her. "We have to call the police," she said quietly. No one argued, not because they believed a crime had happened, but because there was nothing left to try. Every path they could think of had already been walked. Every name had already been shouted into the night air until their throats burned. Reporting it felt like admitting defeat, like acknowledging that the situation was now beyond their control. Tu Diep could barely stay on her feet. Her legs trembled as if the ground beneath her had lost all stability. James reached out instinctively, steadying her before she collapsed completely. Her face was pale, her eyes unfocused, as though part of her had already broken away and gone searching on its own. The local police station responded quickly. Within minutes, officers arrived and began gathering information. They asked straightforward questions. When was little Ly last seen? Who was with her? What she was wearing? And which areas around the house she usually wandered to? There was no hint of panic in their tone, no assumption of criminal intent. At this stage, they treated it as a missing child case, caused by a lapse in supervision or a child wandering off unnoticed. Based on the answers, the officers decided not to escalate the situation into a criminal investigation. There were no roadblocks, no interrogations, no sealed-off areas. Instead, they organized a coordinated search around the village, focusing on nearby paths, fields, and familiar spots where a child might wander. As the night deepened, the search expanded. Police officers James, Mrs. Huyen, and Tu Diep split into different directions. Flashlights cut through the darkness, beams sweeping across dirt roads, hedges, and the edges of rice fields. Voices echoed through the village as they called out Ly's name again and again, each call filled with growing desperation. Time seemed to stretch unnaturally. Minutes felt like hours. Every shadow looked like a small figure for just a fraction of a second before dissolving into nothing. There were no footprints, no sounds, no signs that led anywhere. Just silence. Tu Diep was unraveling. She walked mechanically, tears streaming down her face, whispering apologies to herself over and over. She replayed the entire day in her mind, every moment, every decision. She remembered the morning, the small details she hadn't double-checked, the assumptions she made without thinking. Each memory felt like a personal failure, stacking on top of the last until the weight became unbearable. James stayed close, trying to comfort her, telling her they would find Ly, that everything would be okay. But even as he spoke, doubt crept in. The longer the search continued without results, the harder it became to believe his own words. Eventually, one of the officers gathered everyone together. His expression was calm but serious. He explained that visibility was too low, the area too wide. They would pause the search for the night and resume at first light, when conditions would be safer and more effective. That was the moment it truly hit them. Tonight, they might not find Ly. The realization settled heavily on everyone's chest. Mrs. Huyen looked exhausted beyond words. Her shoulders sagged, her face drained of all color. She nodded slowly, understanding there was nothing more that could be done right now. James gently guided Tu Diep back toward the house. She didn't resist, but she didn't seem fully present either. The walk home was silent. No one spoke. The only sound was Tu Diep's muffled sobbing, raw and uncontrollable, breaking the stillness of the night. When they reached the house, something felt off immediately. The lights were on. The door wasn't locked. Before anyone could say a word, they heard it. A child's laughter coming from inside. They froze. For a brief, terrifying second, no one moved. Then they rushed in. Little Ly was there. She was sitting comfortably inside the house, playing as if nothing had happened. Nearby, Mr. Hoan sat close, watching her and talking to her in a relaxed, familiar tone. The room went completely still. Tu Diep let out a cry and ran forward, dropping to her knees as she wrapped her arms tightly around Ly. Her body shook as she sobbed uncontrollably, the fear and tension finally bursting free. Mrs. Huyen stood rooted in place, her legs weakening as overwhelming relief washed over her. James exhaled sharply, a breath he didn't realize he had been holding for hours, but that relief didn't last. Almost instantly, his emotions shifted. Fear gave way to anger. He turned toward Mr. Hoan, his voice tense, edged with the panic that still hadn't fully faded. "Why did you take her without telling anyone?" James demanded. "Do you have any idea what we just went through?" Mr. Hoan looked startled, caught completely off guard. He opened his mouth, clearly unsure how to begin explaining. Before he could speak, little Ly tugged on James's sleeve. "Don't scold Grandpa Hoan," she said clearly. "He took me out to have fun." The room fell silent again. Mr. Hoan finally spoke. He explained simply, without excuses. He had seen Ly alone and thought he would take her out for a short walk, just to let her enjoy herself. He planned to bring her back soon and never imagined that everyone would panic, let alone call the police. He wasn't defending himself, just admitting he hadn't thought far enough ahead. James stood there, silent, the anger drained from his face, replaced by something heavier and more complicated. Tu Diep continued holding Ly, her hands trembling, unwilling to let go. Nothing terrible had happened, and yet everything had almost fallen apart. The night ended not with celebration, but with a quiet, uneasy relief, a reminder of how close misunderstanding alone can come to turning into tragedy. For a long moment, no one spoke. The room was filled with a strange mix of emotions, relief so intense it made their legs weak, fear that hadn't fully left their bodies, and a lingering tension that refused to disappear. Little Ly sat safely in Tu Diep's arms, still confused about why everyone looked so shaken. James was the first to move. He took a step back, running a hand through his hair as he tried to calm his breathing. The anger that had flared seconds ago slowly faded, replaced by exhaustion. His voice, when he spoke again, was quieter. "Do you know what tonight was like for us?" he asked Mr. Hoan, not shouting anymore, but not hiding the pain either. "We thought we lost her." Mr. Hoan lowered his eyes. He nodded once, slowly. "I understand now," he said. "I truly didn't think it through." He explained again, more carefully this time. He had seen Ly sitting alone, looking bored. He thought a short outing would cheer her up. They walked, talked, laughed. Time slipped by faster than he realized. His phone was old, the battery unreliable. By the time he returned, the house was empty. He never imagined the scale of fear unfolding outside. Mrs. Huyen finally found her voice. "You should have told us," she said, not angrily, but firmly. "Not because you did something bad, but because everyone who loves her deserves to know where she is." Mr. Hoan nodded again. "You're right." Little Ly, sensing the tension, looked up at Tu Diep. "Mommy, are you mad at Grandpa Hoan?" she asked innocently. Tu Diep shook her head quickly, pulling Ly closer. "No, baby, Mommy was just scared." That word, scared, hung in the air. James sat down heavily on a chair. The adrenaline was gone now, leaving behind a deep fatigue that settled into his bones. He thought about the police officers still searching the village, unaware that the crisis had already ended. He stood up again and stepped outside to make the call, informing them that Ly had been found and was safe. When he returned, the house felt different, quieter, heavier. No one knew what to say next. This wasn't a moment that ended cleanly. There was no clear villain, no dramatic resolution, just a painful lesson delivered too close for comfort. Tu Diep finally loosened her grip, wiping her tears as she looked at Mr. Hoan. "I know you didn't mean harm," she said softly, "but tonight, it broke something in me." Her voice trembled. "For hours, I imagined every possible outcome. I don't ever want to feel that again." Mr. Hoan swallowed hard. "Neither do I." James looked between them, realizing something uncomfortable but true. This wasn't about blame, it was about trust, and how fragile it really was. One small decision, one missing sentence had nearly torn everything apart. The rest of the night passed quietly. Ly, unaware of the emotional storm she had caused, soon fell asleep in Tu Diep's arms. Mrs. Huyen helped settle her into bed, tucking the blanket carefully around her, as if making sure she truly existed there. Only after Ly was asleep did everyone finally allow themselves to sit down. No one spoke for a while. Then James broke the silence. "We need to talk about boundaries," he said. "Not just tonight, moving forward." No accusations, just clarity. Mr. Hoan listened without interrupting. He agreed. From now on, no taking Ly anywhere without informing at least one adult. No assumptions, no shortcuts. Love alone wasn't enough. Communication had to come with it. Mrs. Huyen added quietly, "Tonight showed us how quickly fear grows in the dark." That sentence stayed with them. Later, when everyone had gone to their rooms, James stood alone in the living room. The house was finally still. He replayed the night in his head, the panic, the shouting of Ly's name into empty fields, the crushing moment when police suggested waiting until morning. He realized how close they had come to losing more than just time. In another room, Tu Diep sat beside Ly's bed, watching her sleep. Her tears had dried, but her hands still shook slightly. She leaned forward, brushing hair from Ly's forehead, whispering promises she hoped she'd never have to repeat again. Mr. Hoan lay awake as well. For the first time, he truly understood the weight of responsibility that came with love. He hadn't acted out of carelessness, but he had acted alone. And tonight proved that even good intentions could cause real damage. Morning would come, life would go on, but something had changed. Not in a dramatic, irreversible way, but in a quiet, lasting one. They had all learned how thin the line was between safety and disaster, and how one simple misunderstanding left unchecked could nearly become a tragedy. A quiet countryside morning slowly turns into a nightmare when a simple assumption leads to little Ly being left alone. Tu Diep believes the child is safe with Ms. Huyen, while Ms. Huyen assumes Tu Diep has already picked her up. Throughout the day, no one confirms the plan. As night falls, the truth surfaces, and panic spreads quickly. James, Tu Diep, and Mrs. Huyen search desperately and eventually report the disappearance to the police. A village-wide search unfolds in darkness, exhaustion, and guilt, pushing Tu Diep to emotional collapse. Hours later, hope appears unexpectedly when they return home and find little Ly safe with Mr. Hoan, who had taken her out to play without informing anyone. Relief replaces fear, but tension remains. The story ends with a painful lesson. No one intended harm, yet miscommunication nearly caused tragedy.